Hello there, welcome to my reaction to 10 incredible cut content secrets in Elden Ring by Vatividia. Um, I possibly seen a few at least from these because I've seen cut content videos from different channels like Zully the Witch is a great channel to watch that kind of thing. But I wonder what he's gonna go through. I don't want to check the timeline to spoil myself, because I want to go into it more or less blind. So, without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, become a member, and let's begin.
This video contains some cut content that I feel you need to know about. Giant heads in Limgrave, cut quest lines,
I
and
reacted
so
to
much
that
more.
on
The
its own.
community's data miners have made some
Dreamed
really
I
legendary
would watch that.
discoveries in the past few months, and it's just incredible how many things lie just out of sight. Blythe's tower in the Mistwood ruins, for example, is properly set up to be a destructible object, although it's been tweaked to prevent it being destroyed. This might point to an earlier design concept for Blythe's questline, where you might have had to use the nearby bear to crush the tower and bring Blythe down to you. Of course, this might have led to problems. Sometimes it's easy to figure out why content was cut, but sometimes it's really difficult. For example, have a listen to this recreated encounter with Asimi, a silver tier NPC that was cut from the game and first appears begging you not to kill her.
Please wait, proud, tarnished warrior. Before you kill me, let me speak. I am Asimi. My true form is that of a silver tear. I am a simple being who can assume the shapes of other living things, but now I've gained knowledge. I speak and ponder and live in fear of death. Oh, mighty, tarnished warrior.
Oops. What's interesting is that she said that she gained knowledge. So silver tears overall are, I guess, mindless beings, but she somehow gained the knowledge to talk and stuff.
I beg of you, let me keep the life I've been granted. In exchange, I offer you power. Ah, thank you. Now, set your lips upon me and breathe in deep. I will live inside of you.
What?
And grant you strength untold. Onward to our glorious future, my host.
Melina also has something to say about
That's
this.
very interesting.
Is there another person inside of you? Did you want that to happen? I sense no malice. Do as you think best. Hello, other you. I am Melina, and I am traveling with this person. We might be together for some time. Pleased to meet you.
Once inside you, it seems Asimi would stay quiet. That is, until you arrive in the Eternal Cities, where it sounds like she would speak up and ask you to seek out 2 chalices. She needs these to quench her thirst and rejuvenate her flesh. Once you drink from both chalices, you supposedly awaken to hear this.
Ah, are you awake? We've become a perfect whole.
Now, there's definitely a sinister aspect to this quest as well.
Yeah,
and this
it
character.
feels that way.
Somehow it seems you could find your other self and confront them.
Oh, you found me. I had hoped you wouldn't. You could have become Elden Lord, and I could have become Sovereign Eternal. Eventually, if you hadn't found me, we both could have been lords.
After this fight, we have to assume that it's here where you would originally have received the Mimic Tier Spirit Ashes. And wouldn't this quest be such a better way to get the Mimic Tier Ashes? This summon ended up being so powerful and so game.
Yeah, add some power behind it, add some like interest instead of just, oh, I can make my own copy out of the silver tier mimics. Okay, that's fine.
Defining that it just really did define the late game playthroughs of many players, and I include myself among them. In my opinion, if there's going to be something this experience defining in the game, it would be great if it had a difficult and interesting questline associated with it, at least. But who knows, maybe this questline will find its way into the game via a patch or DLC. So the purpose of this segment is
More like
really just to let you know that
Molodets
Asimi
properly.
existed. But if you want to learn more about this questline, then the user Nullrin on YouTube has done a much better recreation of it than I have. And the modder Sekiro Doobie is planning on doing a complete restoration of the questline within the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm
so
talking about.
Be sure to subscribe to them for that.
Yeah,
And that brings us, as always, with these videos, to Lance, and to his restoration of another
This
cut
video I've
questline.
seen.
Perhaps you've heard of
I think I reacted to it, but I watched it on my own.
the nectar of the demigods, once forbidden to immortals.
It's pretty interesting how it works.
Believe it or not, I know just how to make
Because
it.
this wasn't a demo,
This
it was
man is known
quite
as
close
Rico,
to the release.
and through talking with him, you're given an item called St. Trina's Crystal Ball, and then you're tasked with using it to collect dream mist from sleeping enemies. You might recall these sleeping wolves and bears and even land octopi, they were actually present in the 2021 network test version of Elden Ring. And with the hacked crystal ball in your inventory, we can go back and see the dense fog of sleep that is around these creatures, and we can even siphon some of it for our own. With 2 of these dream mists in your inventory, we can return to Rico, and we can claim our dream brew. But what
Yeah, in that octopus behind is also sleeping, but he's outside of the boundary of the network testing. I don't know if Blythe gonna go into this, but I'm just gonna say it now. It's outside of the network test, so you can get only like the wolf and a small octopi. I don't remember. You can find 2 to continue this, but that's probably was supposed to be a tutorial in a properly open world.
What does Dream Brew do? Well, according to Rico, Dream Brew is imbibed to give you a reprieve from this crumbling world, and it can even be used to uncover someone's deepest, darkest secrets.
A pleasure as ever, old friend.
The secret the dialogue reveals here is that Kale, like all wandering merchants, is haunted by visions of the frenzied flame. So, while getting a few extra lines of dialogue from NPCs isn't particularly rewarding, I think it would be really cool if we could use Dream Brew to actually physically enter NPC dreams, like we do with Fia during her questline.
Well, honestly, maybe that's how we would have done it if it was implemented fully into the game, but we will probably never know.
Regardless, I still think the Dream Brew questline is pretty cool. It encourages you to keep an eye out for sleeping enemies as you explore the world, and it rewards the attentive player. Lance has reactivated this early part of the questline over on his channel, so go and check that out. Although I do want to say, Rico's questline does seem to continue after this. He goes into the Halig tree, and he has a lot to do with St. Trina,
Yeah.
who we're definitely going to talk about.
I'm just
another
looking
time.
at like, are those arms on
But there's
his,
still more
or
that we
hands
can
on his
learn
thing, or
from the
just
old
gloves?
network test version. Take
I
this.
think
for
this
example.
is a video I
Look back at
reacted
the
to
low
fully on
detail
the
view
channel.
of Limgrave from Margit's arena, and you can just make out these giant smoldering shapes. Here, Lance sends his free cam over, and he discovered these giant burning stone heads that are rendered in insanely high detail. Some of you might even remember seeing one of these heads in the earliest known leaks of Elden Ring's gameplay back in March of 2021, and we can only really speculate on what these heads represent. Clearly they were giants of some kind, and their closest kin
Well, there are
seem to
weird
be
heads
giants
in
that you
Caelid,
find in
yeah.
Caelid, and the giants that you find in the mountaintops of the giants. But even these really humanoid giants, they're still a mystery. Who were they? Interestingly,
They're
in another piece
actually
of cut content,
gigantic.
Radahn was at one point called the Giant Slayer, so that might help to explain why giants are dead in his region
Yeah,
of Caelid,
would
at
make
least.
sense.
But these are still a mystery. Clearly, a lot has changed since earlier versions of Elden
Oh.
Ring, especially when it comes to the in-game map, and these are changes that continue in every single patch, unseen by many. But of course, not much gets past Illusory Wall, who has been documenting all of the changes to the in-game map. You should go and watch his full video. But the part I found most interesting in his video is that even in the current version of the game, the path to Jarburg remains on the map even though the path is physically not there. So I wonder, is this an intentional decision by From Software to make players want to find another path to this hidden town?
Possibly overlooked
or
it.
is it an oversight that they've yet to fix?
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention, we're going to be visiting this town on the channel really soon. Prepare to
Ooh.
cry. So,
Yeah.
in my last video, we
I am prepared to cry because I went through the quest line not too long ago, and it ends up being kind of sad.
talked about the lore of Radahn and how
Horse.
he originally learned gravitational magic in order to allow him to ride his scrawny horse. But Zully has data mined another little detail that makes his story hit just a little bit harder.
The name?
She learned the name of
Yeah.
his horse, and that name is Leonard. We know this because Radahn's AI is named Radahn and Leonard. It counts him and the horse together, though we've also recently learned that they might not have always fought as one. The data suggests that, at one point at least, it might have been planned for Leonard to act as a separate entity to Radahn. Perhaps you could knock Radahn off his horse, or even kill Leonard, as terrible as that sounds. And man, if they let us kill Leonard, I feel like I'd be able to make one hell of a Prepare to Cry episode. Just saying.
Yeah.
For this next one, we have to go back. Way back to
Snake
2015, when early screenshots of Dark Souls 3's alpha version were first leaked.
Oh.
In this screenshot,
Oh,
we saw
the
a
thing.
concept with
Yeah.
a sun leaking darkness.
I've seen
But
this
next
before.
to that, there was this giant abyssal snake creature. And then, when Dark Souls 3 finally released in 2016,
It's like the tree
data
spirits in
miners
Elden Ring.
found the AI boss name Snake Soul in the files. And at this point, we speculated that Snake Soul might have once been the name of this giant abyssal creature. There were abyssal snake-like creatures in the Ringed City DLC, after all, and that
But
served
much
as even more
smaller.
proof when the DLC came out. But finally, with the release of Elden Ring, we finally have the final piece of the puzzle. So this is an ulcerated tree spirit, and its AI name reveals that it is indeed the long-lost Snake Soul. And considering its model has elements taken from Dark Souls 3's Pus of Man, it seems pretty likely that this is the final concept of a creature that we first looked at over 7 years ago. So for this next one, I want to talk about Godric, who was
And
sadly
Dark Souls
left out
3.
of my last Demigods video, so let's give him some screen
Even
time.
the release
There's
has
actually
been
some
so
of his
long ago.
cut dialogue
It's
that
insane.
really speaks to his character a bit more. In this cut dialogue, he gives a speech, which almost sounds like a rallying cry or a poem that he's reciting for his followers. You would have heard a small part of this when
That's quite a that's quite a range, a rallying cry, or a poem. Okay.
he died, but this is how the full thing goes.
Oh, this thing. I've
we
seen this.
return together to our home, bathed
Somewhere.
in rays of gold. There is only one tree, and only its branches, that bathe in true rays of gold. Not the fool
Okay, stop yawning.
nor the rank
Hmm.
well-formed twins. Oh, we are the golden ones, the true and rightful heirs. Our land's grown old now, ashen and cold. But look up, the Erd tree glows. One day we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold. And grace will surely guide us safe to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
Special thanks to Sekiro Dubi, who provided the
Repeating
visuals
himself
for this cut dialogue.
Multiple
Similarly,
times.
Godfrey
Shit
too
poem.
has cut dialogue as well, and his sounds like it would have been given to the Tarnished before they even journeyed to the lands between. Have a listen.
Elden Ring, oh Elden Ring. Shaper of life, arbiter of
I was thinking that he's understanding where the fingers are.
Lord of the very stars
Think.
above. Tarnished warrior, spurned by the grace of gold. Seek that which hath been lost to thee. Across the sea of fog to the lands between. Seek the Elden Ring.
God damn it, poet
For
after
this last
poet,
secret,
huh?
I want to talk about the Colosseums. So you might have noticed a few of these scattered throughout the world. There's
Yeah.
3 in total, 1 in Leyndell, 1 in Limgrave, and 1 in Caelid. In the lore, it's here that ritual combat once took place, and these were trials held to honor the Erd Tree. However, it seems like this practice might have been more of a thing when Godfrey was around, and by the time of Radahn, this practice was said to have died out. Indeed, the doors to these Colosseum are closed, even to us. That said, it's still possible to get
What do you mean,
inside,
even to
but
us?
then YouTuber Sekiru Dubi has done even more than that, and they've restored a few more elements, giving us a
Oh,
hint at
cool.
what the arena might once have been. In the arena itself, enemies named Gladiator Large and Old Lion of the Arena fight in gladiatorial combat. But before you get here, there's a location near the entrance called the reception desk. This makes me think that players might have once been able to open an interface here, you know, like you do in previous.
It reminds me of the... Just randomly now, I've seen this before because I played the game. But now it reminds me of the place after the Artorias fight in the first Dark Souls DLC. And a DLC for the first Dark Souls. Like, also like some kind of Colosseum where you go around and it's like a PvP hub area or something like that. Is it after Artorias? Or is it Dark Souls 2? I hate my memory.
Games before you enter the arena. But what
But
the
you know what I
player
mean,
might
probably.
actually use these arenas
Hopefully.
for is still a mystery. Could
What is
they
that
open up
pile
to
of
us in
shit?
upcoming DLC? If so, what would we do inside? Would we fight each other in PvP? That seems to be the most likely option.
That would be
From
cool.
Software do have a habit of adding PvP arenas in DLC, but this could also be a place, maybe, where you re-challenge bosses. Refighting bosses was a fantastic piece of DLC that they added to Sekiro, and it would be super welcome in this game as well.
Would
But
it?
What do you think?
A lot of
Thank you
people are crying because they are repeating already existing bosses throughout the game. Like, you pretty much, well, not every boss, but most of the bosses you fight multiple times throughout the game if you're like exploring everything. Of course, you can't fight boss only once and then never again because you just don't care or didn't find a specific location where it appears again. But a lot of bosses happen multiple times. And I heard that as a negative from people. I don't really care. A lot of bosses are very fun to fight, so I wouldn't mind it unless it's a fucking gang fight. Hate it. But it could be interesting in fighting them in the arena. Just the arena looks cool, and the idea of fighting something in the arena, maybe even with people watching, and maybe like cheering whoever is winning. That would be cool. Maybe like a proper tournament arc implemented in it where you join the place in the reception desk as a like unknown warrior, and then you start fighting random things in the beginning, and then people are cheering against you because they don't know who you are. They're cheering for someone who actually did appear in that arena before, and then as you progress through the quest line by fighting just different enemies in that arena, maybe increasing until you reach like bosses and stuff, then they start cheering for you because they see you succeed over and over again. You gain fans and stuff. I don't think how it would work lore-wise in the game. Probably will not work at all. But I would like it to be that way.
Thank you for watching. And before you go, I want to talk a little bit more about Audible, who kindly sponsored this video. If you go to audible.com/VartyVideo or text VartyVideo to 500, then you can claim your free 30-day Audible trial.
Yeah, I would do that to support
get full access
VartyVideo.
to thousands and thousands of
I don't know
audiobooks,
if
original
it's
entertainment
available in my
series,
country.
and podcasts as well that are all included in
I
the
wouldn't be
Plus
surprised if
catalog.
it's not.
Additionally, you'll get credit for one full audiobook when you sign up, completely free. And this month, I'm recommending that you download the audiobook for A Game of Thrones, which is obviously the first title in the now famous series by George R.R. Martin, who himself had a
Was the
part
first
in
book
creating
Song of Ice
Elden
and Fire?
Ring's story. Have a quick listen.
Or is the
He
whole
was a veteran
series?
of 100 rangings by now, and the endless dark wilderness that the
33
Southerners call
hours,
the Haunted
god
Forest
damn.
had no more terrors for him. Until tonight.
So I tend to use Audible when I'm doing chores or repetitive tasks. It kind of gives a bit more value and meaning to those moments of downtime. So
I usually use
remember,
music for
go
that.
to audible.com/VartiVidya or text VartiVidya to 500.
There's like a video of YouTube
and
there. I
get
don't
your
have
free
to
trial
watch. I
started
can just
today.
listen to.
So thank you again to Audible for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching.
Just in case there's something else. Alright, probably nothing. Great. Let me guess, is there a thing on the left? I guess wrong. There it is. Why does it still not work? Yeah. Great video as always. Kind of a shame that I've seen a few of these things before. So let's go through them a little bit. Blade's Tower is kind of an interesting detail. It could be that the bear can destroy it could be something else entirely. And bear was added later just to defend the, like a little catacomb where you get some kind of an item. I think some kind of medallion? Don't remember. Could be the bear, but it's very high up. Maybe it was a way for you to bring Blythe down from there instead of doing this. You had to like shoot a cannon at it and destroy it. I don't know. Kind of malicious. But could have been interesting. Maybe your questline is the most interesting thing. I haven't heard anything about it, never seen anything of it, unlike some other stuff. And it would have added a lot of weight to the mimic tier fight when you fight yourself. It would have been very, very interesting. Yeah, Dream Brew I've seen before. Also a very interesting thing, could have gone a long way. Because there are, again, this is the biggest game From Software ever made. So there are many more NPCs than in any Dark Soul or Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and any other game. So this could have been like a big look into people's psyche, into NPC's psyche, what they're going through. Like I would love to give that thing to like Ofnir or to the Finger Maiden maybe. Unless she doesn't sleep because she's a weird creature. I don't know. It would have been very, very cool. Burning giant heads. It's another giant head. It's very unknown what the hell it was doing here. I guess there are multiple of them in the world. But there's not much to say because not much known. Map changes is pretty cool. It's interesting to see how the maps just change back and forth, but also I kind of would like to see how they look like, not from just the map perspective, but like on the ground level. Because some maps do, on the map you can see like there are buildings and then they're gone, or the opposite of that. And I want to see what was before the game's release, like how it was modeled there. It would have been pretty cool. It's probably impossible to do, at least accurately, but it would have been cool to see. And then Leonard is, yeah. If I'm not wrong, Zully wasn't the one who found it, or at least not the first one to find it. But I could be wrong, because I don't remember who did it. But it's been like probably at least a month that someone found the name. That someone found the name of the horse. It's pretty cool. It adds a lot of like character, and I wish there was something in like maybe in dialogue with the guy who lets you in. Maybe he says that like put an end to Leonard and Radahn suffering instead of just focusing on Radahn all the way. Could have been nice emotional touch. Them being separated could have been cool. Maybe like in the first phase, but in the second phase where Radahn comes in from the sky, there is no more horse, or it dies on the impact. I don't know. And that way you'll know, like, oh, this is actually, yes, it's another confirmation that Radahn doesn't have a mind. He doesn't care for the horse anymore. he cannot think about what he's doing. Snake Soul, I knew about this before as well, and about this before this like cut content thing came out about Snake Soul. I've never seen this art piece before, but it looks amazing. And yeah, that, like, the perspective, how far that is, it should be so fucking gigantic. Also, it looks like there's a fucking Jormungandr on the background. It's probably not what that is. But yeah, that's probably the tree spirit in the Elden Rings. Tree spirits in the Elden Ring. When different, put S's in the wrong place. Curtis Cat dialogue is very weird, and the poem is also weird, but it shows how insane he got through the years. Godfrey is very interesting. Haven't seen this one before, unlike the Godric again. And it's weird that there is a throne, so it would be a proper place for a lord to be, not for the fingers that probably cannot sit. And the arenas, already talked about it. I really, really wish they add something to the arenas, because they look cool here. They could change them to look differently, but I think they still look cool. The idea of the arenas would be very interesting, even if it is going to be just for PvP. It would be just cool to fight, because they do have mechanics that show on the map where people are fighting. And I feel like without checking the map, you come to the arena and you look for a match for yourself, and you'll find it because people would be fighting on the arenas. It would just make sense. In any way they want to implement them, I'm all for it. And I really do hope there are more content updates, or even proper DLC for Elden Ring, because it is an amazing experience of a game. Anyway, thank you, anybody who watched this. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye. Have a great life, because one of us has to.